My session today is about sitemaps, and it's pretty much to cover up the basics, summarize of what I think people should always look at when we're talking about the sitemap and what are the things that you should not miss when configuring and obviously taking advantage of the DNN platform to accomplish this task. Um, the what I'm gonna share and what we're gonna be talking today, it's about the best practices, and then I'm gonna jump into real quick to the DNN platform, the latest version, to take a look real quick to the settings and how I configure those, and then we can discuss further. First, um, always reference your sitemap whenever it's XML or if it's ASPX, the one that generates DNN. Always reference it on your robots.txt file as an SEO best practice still. This is pretty important, and it's actually specified, and Google has confirmed this in their developers.google.com website article about how to build a sitemap, which link it's down here. The priority and the change frequency tags, they're ignored by Google. So we mainly have to focus on the last modification value right now. Um, Obviously, always aim right now to 2026 for dynamic sitemaps that auto update when content changes instead of just doing a manual XML file that you need to update every time that you work on a page or create a new page for a specific website. This is pretty basic stuff, but it's important to always mention XML sitemaps are meant for search engines, and the HTML sitemaps are for end users. Recommendation is to try to have both of them implemented on your website. Now, Google enforces a limit on your sitemaps of 50,000 URLs, and the size of the file should not be larger than 50 megs. If you have more than that, and then we will jump real quick to the link from developers.google.com URL, but if you have more than that, you have to create an index or separate that big sitemap into different or multiple sitemap files. Okay. Very important. Always use fully qualified URLs on your sitemaps, including the HTTPS protocol at the beginning, always full absolute URLs. The priority tag does not affect ranking at all. So there's no reason for you to put all the pages on one, trying to think that the search engines will look for all pages as important. The priority is more for creating like a different way of communicate the structure of your sitemap or your website to the search engines. Because if you prioritize your homepage with one, that should be always the case, and all the other pages 0.9, for example, and then if you have sub pages, then you can start decreasing the value up to 0.5, which is the default. I wouldn't recommend going further down than that value, but because you then will have a very complex data page structure, which is something that you have to always avoid on a website. But again, it's not priority, it's not something that is gonna help you increase your ranking on search from Google or any other search engine. And like I said before, we already confirmed, and this is the link, and I'll click on it so you guys can see it, where Google specifies that, either the priority tag or the change frequency tag signals are not crawling signals for ranking decisions. So I'm going to click on it. And this is the URL um, for the sitemap page, how to build a sitemap from the developers.google.com site. And if you come here, There you are. So you can see here where it says the Google ignores those two values. Come on, man. Here. I don't know why I click on it and it goes up, but this is the line where it states that we don't have to worry about those two tags anymore. We have to focus on the last modification tag. And hopefully it will be included automatically, so you don't have to worry about doing that manually. And about the site map limits, it's this one over here, sitemap sites limit. So you have to try to reach to a file top 50 megs of size or 50,000 URLs. Otherwise, you have to come up with multiple sitemaps or optionally create a sitemap index for your website. And about the absolute URLs, you always have to aim to specify the full URL for your pages and not just go with something like this. Okay. And the last part of the demo is actually going into a version of the web of DNN platform. This is a demo URL or DNN. It's the 10.03.02, the latest. And if we go to the page settings, go to the settings, sorry, and then jump into the SEO tab, we're gonna have first the URL management. In my personal opinion, whenever I start a website, I like not to use the underscore or middle score, middle dash um, on the URLs. So I always disable this. I always make all URLs lowercase to avoid as much as possible non-canonical URL problems. Then in my case, since I'm in Costa Rica, we do have a lot of special characters. So I always try to activate this option. So this is something that I always have this configured, as you can see here. And then I go back to the sitemap settings. And on the sitemap settings, this is the URL for the sitemap, so you can look at it. This, it's based on how much time you want to allow the cache to clear. So whenever the crawlers look for this sitemap file, well, it will cache. Um, if there's a website, if that's a website that doesn't change too much, I wouldn't worry about setting up a long time or actually a short time or disabling it. I will actually put the longest available, which is 7 days. Um, I will exclude all the priority lower than 0.6. I always try to keep my priority levels between 0.6 and above. So I always specify to go if it's lower than that, just don't include it in the sitemap. The minimum priority for pages, I will always set between 0.9 and 0.8. Um, Depending on the amount of pages that the main menu will have, I would probably go by 0.8 if there's a lot. Um, and there's always hidden pages. So whenever we do like a marketing campaign and we have landing pages hidden, but we want those hidden pages to be also or to have a possibility to be organically be displayed on Google search result pages. So we always check this uh, checkbox here to include those hidden pages, and we usually don't enable the page level based priorities, but it will be like different um, management for the priorities because it's gonna be based on page level. So there's one page on the main menu, it's one, then one page inside it's 0.9 and so on. I always manually set the priorities on each page when I create them, so I never use this feature. And here at the bottom, you have the option once your website is live to just send this straight to Google and create the verification code here. I always go to Search Console and do it manually. So I'm gonna go real quick here to the Search Console. It's in Spanish, so just ignore. the language. But you go to sitemaps here on the left, you pick up your website, then you go to sitemaps here on the left. You can just specify the URL here and you send. It will give you the map over here. You can click on it. And if you click here, open sitemap, it will open up a new tab and you will have your sitemap display. Okay. So that will be all for my end about sitemaps. Any questions or comments about it, guys? You're on mute, man.
Yeah. Hey, Marco, I know you said the 50,000 page thing is when you should use sitemap index. We've actually had a scenario or two where we wanted to use sitemap index on smaller sites. What do you think about that? Do you think somehow Google might penalize you? Because I have to tell you, we've been using it successfully so far on, I think, three recent projects, all of which have
Yeah.
less than 50 pages, but it's been working really well because it lets us organize and do custom URLs. So we split it up between what DNN spits out, the index, and then we usually add two others for things like slug-based articles, and in another case, publications that had DOI codes. Do you think it's okay, or do you think that might
Yeah.
be a bad idea? I don't know what to think about that.
Actually, I don't think it gets penalized, honestly. It's
Okay.
just a different way of doing things. The recommendation is mainly when you have big websites with more than 50,000 pages that you want to
Yeah.
like put it on your sitemap. So that's like the best approach. So you can maximize your time and be more efficient, you know? But if you use it for websites less than that, it's just a different approach. At the end of the day, what Google wants or any other search engine is to have a nice and clean sitemap that they can read on, So I don't think you're gonna get penalized if you're using it for
Okay.
smaller
And if I
websites.
think I do, I'll let you know because it's an interesting topic. I really like what we're doing using the sitemap index, so
Yeah,
I'll let
yeah,
you
that's
know.
great, man.
And
All
then
right,
my other quick
excellent.
question, hopefully just a quick yes or no. You mentioned that Google, and I've known for years, they ignore frequency and what was the other
Priority.
one? Priority.
Priority.
Do you think including them, do you think the AI is using those at all?
Mm.
Do you,
Well,
I
I think that most of SEO best practices will apply for AI because at the end of the day, when you think about SEO, you're thinking about optimizing your website the best as possible, not only thinking about the search crawlers, but thinking about the end user experience and all of that. So I believe that most of the things that are SEO related will get you benefits on the AI era, right? So talking
yeah,
about sitemaps, I believe that if you focus, for example, priority, in my case, I always include priority in the sitemaps, but I use it because for me, it's like when you have a blog on your website and you have categories, but you also have the tags. So you have different ways for end users to find the content they want. So for me, priority tag, it's a different way to explain the structure of my page um, setup, So I will definitely include it, but I will just keep in mind that the priority is just a different way to show the hierarchy of your pages. Not thinking about, I will add it and I will put every page that I want to, be displayed on the results from AI on one. That doesn't make
yeah,
any sense because you just messed up what you did correctly on the sitemap itself, right? So you have to match. So I would definitely include it and also included the last modify tag. That's a really important one.
cool.
All right. Any more questions or comments?
Yes, a question on the levels. You said you set the level to exclude at zero point 0.6, and then and then the other level you set was zero point 0.9. Where are those levels actually set on the page? Who sets
Where
them?
yeah, great question, bro. Just go here, page. So when you are on the DNN, you are page like home, you're gonna advance, then you have SEO, and then you have the option to allow or not allow index. So if you want this page to be on the sitemap, you have to check this, and then you specify your priority right here.
And is there, I don't know anything about why I would pick a particular priority. I have
Well,
I
that
have a
depends.
hierarchy already, which I thought uh, dictated the priority of it. But
Yeah. It's like a folder. You can look at it as ladders or just a folder organization, right? So the first one on the top is gonna be one. So homepage will always be one, and that should only be the only page with one priority because it's homepage, right? And then the other pages that you have on your menu should be 0.9. Now, if those pages have sub pages, those sub pages should be 0.8. So it's a different way to structure or explain to search crawlers how your page is structured by putting the right priority levels, right? But mistakenly, most common think of looking at priority is that I will put all my pages on one to make Google think that all pages are important, so they should be there on the search result pages.
Yeah, I
That's
definitely
not
don't agree
that's
with doing that.
yeah, that doesn't work. So you have to, in my case, I will do it that way. You know, homepage is one, all the other pages on the main menu will be 0.9. And if there are sub pages, I will put 0.8. So it's like headers, header one, header two. So you have to like make sure that everything's sync up, right? So if you have a sub page from your main menu, that page should be 0.8 because it's the way the priority works, you know, from top to bottom. So in my case, I mentioned that I never go below 0.6 because one of the SEO best practices that I always try to implement in websites, it's that the end user should get to the content they want in 2 or 3 click stops. So I will never go down from 0.8. I will probably stay between 1, 0.9, 0.8. Really weird scenarios where I go down to 0.7 because there's another subpage, but that is too much complex for the end user who's trying to find that content. So I will look for another way on the homepage, maybe to put a display or something that people can jump in or use internal linking so people can jump in from one page to another. So I can send traffic to this page that is really down below the page structure. But, you know, that's just the way that I would recommend people using the priority on the page. And it's always good to have it because it's a different way to set the hierarchy of your page, but it has to match the actual page hierarchy. And don't and forget about all this SEO thing that it will get you there just because you put one. Doesn't make any sense, you know. Just you have a really bad page with really bad content, and then you think that just by putting that number there, Google's going to put you on the top. It doesn't make sense. You have to
Nope.
focus on high quality content, video, images, text, and you know, just make sure your priority is set correctly based on the page structure.
Makes sense. Yes.
Excellent. So I think we're done. So
I'd like to say that you just
uh,
said a lot of good points, and I'd like to sum it by saying it really helps your SEO and your sitemaps if you actually go in there and look at it and think about it. That's a good summary of what you said.
yes, I
There's a lot
agree.
of people who just blur and don't look at it and don't do anything, and that's the mistake. It's worth taking the time to think it through.
Yeah. And if you keep it simple, it makes SEO task simple. So once you register your sitemap to the search to the Google Search Console, for example, you're gonna start having notifications about non-canonical URLs. So you can start fixing those problems right away coming from Google itself. So after you set your sitemap, the next step will be to be constantly checking out your Google Search Console notifications because as soon as Google tells you there's a URL with this non-canonical URL definition, then you have to decide which is going to be and fix that, and so you can go move forward. But registering, yeah, your sitemap not only to Google, to Bing, web search tools will help you get that feedback from the search engines, so you can fix whatever is wrong on your sitemap or on your website, so the sitemap reflects 100% what you want to display on your website structure.
Yeah. Cool.
Excellent. So I think we're all set.